everyone, my name is Allie Chavis and I am number 5. So because my laptop is so tiny, whenever I show a picture, I'm just gonna pull this number right here. But yeah, I had the opportunity to interview Mr. Richard Fox Farrell, and he goes by Fox. So yeah, he grew up in Buffalo, New York, and he was born in 1941. He grew up with his siblings Jim and Pat. Jim is his older brother, and Pat is his younger sister. So here I have just a picture of the city where he grew up and a picture of him and his siblings, and he is in the middle. So when he attended college, he went to the University at Buffalo, and this is where he would meet his future wife, Kelly, but we'll get to that a little later. So his degree was originally in biology pre-med, but he ended up changing his mind and graduating with health education. So I included a picture of his campus right there. So right after college, Mr. Farrell went into the Air Force, and his base was located in Selma, Alabama. It was called the Craig Air Force Base. So this is where Mr. Farrell learned to be a pilot. This is where he gained his passion for flying jets and airplanes. And to be accredited to do this, he had to do 260 hours of flying in 2 different jet planes. So here I included a picture of the Air Force Base and then a picture of Mr. Farrell in his uniform. So jobs, I asked him what his first job was, and he said an Air Force pilot. And then I asked him what his favorite job was, and he said that his favorite job was being a pilot for the Delta Airlines. Although he loved this job, he got paid less than a beginning flight attendant, he said. So Kelly, okay, here is a picture of them at their wedding. They've been married for 56 years, and they actually met their senior year at college. They both ran for student senate, so that's how they ran into each other. Mr. Farrell said the key to a successful marriage is to treat it as a partnership, to listen to your spouse, and just to know that it's trial and error. So starting a family, they went on to have 3 kids, Scott, Karen, and Kristen. And here is a picture of them here. They also have 3 grandchildren now, and the only picture he had of one of his grandchildren is this one right here. And this is Mr. Farrell and his wife Kelly now. Hobbies. So Mr. Farrell loves gardening. He has his own garden in his backyard. He also loves cooking. He said his favorite recipe is Cajun John shrimp. He said he spends all day preparing it for dinner all by himself. He loves cooking. And his all-time favorite hobby would be the Tri-Geek Wednesdays. So he leads a triathlon group, and they meet every Wednesday. They swim, bike, run, and just train for triathlons or just go out there to have fun. They either swim in the lake or cycle or run together, and then they have a big picnic. So I included some pictures of that. As you can see, they run into a lot of animals on their cycling training days. Here's just a few things. Here's them at the lake. And then they also do an induction ceremony for new members, and that's a picture of that. They have a lot of fun with it. My mom's actually in the group, so she tells me a lot of the stories. I added some more pictures here so you could see more of the group. There's 49 members, and his job as the leader of the group is to send out weekly newsletters with information about their next training day and pictures like these from the previous Wednesday. So as you can see here, they do a lot of crazy hat days. I don't know if you can tell, but they all have crazy hats. They have a lot of fun. So as you can probably tell, Mr. Farrell stays very active and he actually started doing triathlons at the age of 44. He did so many triathlons, and then finally at the age of 56, he did his first Ironman. So if you don't know what an Ironman is, it is a 2.4 mile swim, and then a 112 mile bike, and then a marathon run, which is 26.2 miles. So he has finished 18 Ironmans, and that doesn't even include all of the triathlons he's completed. So he's very, very active. Here's a picture of him after he finished Ironman Canada. So his greatest accomplishment is qualifying for the Kona World Championship 5 times. And this is the Ironman World Championship that you have to qualify for. It's in Hawaii. And he has qualified 5 times and has done it many times. And here's his trophy for one of those Ironmans in Hawaii. So, influences. He says his father is his greatest influence because his father encouraged him to get into sports and to go to college. And he also said that if he ever was running low on money in college, his father would come to his dorm and give him a $10 bill, which he said was a lot back then. But here's a picture of his father. It's right there, and he looks a lot like Mr. Farrell. Bucket list. So his number one thing on his bucket list was to qualify for Kona. And since he already did that, he said that the other thing on his bucket list would be to tour New York City, not because he wants to, but because it's on his wife's bucket list. So he said, if it's on her bucket list, it's on mine. So the other thing he said was do a national park tour. And this is one that you fly into Phoenix, Arizona, and you have a big group, and then you tour 12 different national parks. So he really wants to do that. And then here I included a picture of New York, and then a picture of him finishing an Ironman. Okay, pets. Mr. Farrell loves his 3 cats like they are his own children. He throws birthday parties for his cats. He said that Pumpkin had a very large 5th birthday party with cake and presents and everything. But he actually found Pumpkin on one of the Try Geek Wednesdays. He was cycling, they stopped to see some animals, and he felt something brush up against his leg. And he thought it was a snake, but it was actually a cat, and it jumped into his arms, and they were best friends ever since. So he loves his 3 cats, Shadow, Lacey, and Pumpkin. As you can see, one of them has a birthday hat on in that picture. Here's just some photos of them. So then I asked him, how do you see my generation? And he said that he thinks of technology. He said we're always on our phones, and he wishes that we would take a step back and actually be in the world instead of being in our virtual world. And then some life lessons he gave me to share with the class was to stay with your first marriage. He said, quote, stay with your first wife, make things work. He said that he has seen a lot of his friends just give up on their marriage because it gets hard, but he said you just gotta make it work. So when I asked him what our generation can do to avoid regretting things later, he said, and I quote, do not post pictures on social media that your mother could bend you over and give you a spanking for. That's pretty self-explanatory. The next quote he gave me was, always be honest with your parents, your boyfriend, your future children, your boss, and everyone. So, a very honest man. Here's a picture of him now. I actually took this picture at his local Starbucks where I interviewed him. He is with his Kona World Championship trophy there. But he was so much fun to interview, and we actually still keep in touch over email. That's all I got. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.